Gotcha.
So, well, it's great to meet you. I love what you got going on, and I'm ready to get into it. But before we do, I kind of want to talk about one of the biggest events of our lifetime, which has been the pandemic. And about 4 years ago, it was raging, and there was a lot of questions. So ultimately, how did you make it through it, and how did it affect the way that you live your life and do things now?
So with the pandemic, it was literally one day at a time because we really didn't know. I mean, we were getting told stay in, don't go near other people. And then we had all of a sudden this huge flip to technology. And it was like, oh, okay, learn new skills. Let's keep this going.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a lot of what we did. Where we learned, ordered books online, read it, played with it, and just build up from the ground there.
That's it. Yeah, it was about pivoting for sure. So let's get to the heart and soul. There's a lot on paper that you do, but I want to get to the essence of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's career
Okay,
day, and one of the kids is
gotcha.
curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What's your answer?
Well, I have four jobs that I do every day.
Okay.
Four jobs. Obviously, I'm a mom. I'm a family. I'm a wife, a caretaker. So I run my household. I'm a farmer. I have my own homestead. So we grow. We're very much about honoring the earth and giving back to her because she gives to us all the time. I'm an author. And then I work in the metaphysical. And I work with angels and ley lines and all sorts of fun, cool deities.
So, what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream when you were a kid?
I was actually torn between being a doctor and a teacher.
Okay. So
And
it's
in a sense, both have come true.
That's the thing. Yeah, it seems like you got the best of both worlds. So talk to me a little bit about how these skills and abilities and senses came about with you. Take me back to where you were born and raised and how it began and kind of evolved into who you are today.
So I was born with these gifts, and I was kind of the mud of the family because I would have out of body experiences. And yet, being a kid, you didn't know what it was. I'm going flying tonight. Yay. No, I'd have deja vu moments that sometimes wouldn't come true for many, many, many years. But when they came true, you're like, that's what I saw all those years ago. And it's just like little puzzle pieces that fit. And then as I got older, I started to have the premonitions. I was also very empathic, very sensitive to everything around me. And then I had three premonitions that came true pretty quickly. And it was like, honestly, it scared the crap out of me because that was when all five clair senses were completely open. And that was when I was a teenager. And of course, teenage is a rough set of years anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, I need time off. So I took some time off, but they were like, nope, you're in it for the long haul. So they were setting up all my teachers everywhere I needed to be for when I actually came back.
Yeah.
And coming back into it, it's just been really fun. I've been able to really step into what I'm supposed to be doing now. Now that I've experienced all the other little things and they all work together to lead me to where I am today.
Isn't that the key to life is to find what your real mission is, what you're supposed to be doing? I mean,
I think it is. I think we all come here before we're born that there's something we're supposed to do, or lessons we're supposed to learn, or people we're supposed to help. And I think every time we find that, it really resonates with us. And it makes us feel good. And it's like, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's go. Let's jump in. No, what else is coming? Let's go, guys. Come on. Show me, show me.
yeah. You know, it's interesting. I live with three generations of women that are relatively clairvoyant and kind of can open up and see the other side. I really haven't been able to. I mean, I've had dreams and things like that. And so my question to you is, there's a lot of folklore that goes into the human mind that makes the other side seem scary. Is it? I mean, is it something that we should be afraid of?
I don't look at it as there's something we should necessarily be afraid of. I look at it as a transition from one chapter to another because everything we do in life can be broken up into chapters. Childhood is a chapter. The amazing, crazy teenage years is a chapter. Our adulthood is a chapter. Our gifts, our skills, everything we work and have in this life help us with each chapter. So if we really look at it as being afraid of it, that just kind of tricks out our minds.
Yeah.
So
That that
if we shift that mindset, it's just a transition. It
yeah.
makes it so much easier to understand.
Isn't it really about being on a journey, though? I mean, a lot of this is about being on a journey and learning, and it's almost kind of like a video game to a certain degree. I mean, I don't want to trivialize it, but it's a little bit like you have to learn and figure things out before you can move on to the next plateau, so to speak.
I would think everything is a journey.
Yeah,
Everything. It doesn't matter if it's just we have this mission in life that we're sent here for. I think we learn as we go and we try to learn those lessons to the best of our ability and apply them to whatever we're doing. And if that transition to the next realm comes sooner, okay, maybe we learned everything we did, maybe we didn't, but it's still learning. It's still going to happen. It's organic in us.
so who did you tell after you had your first kind of metaphysical clairvoyant moment? Who was the first person you told this is what's going on?
I kind of told my parents and they kind of give me you're kind of crazy. You're kind of too young for us to have this conversation. Kind of come back when you're a little older. And it was like, okay, I'm a little older now. So what's going on? And yeah, you're still kind of crazy. We're not going to have that chat about it. And it wasn't until probably long into adulthood that they were finally like, okay, we can't ignore this anymore.
So do you think, with the advent of AI and the way technology is just ballooned in our lifetime, do you think they're ever going to come up with the technology to try to tap into the other side? Do you think it's possible?
In terms of scientifically check in.
Yeah, something that would totally, because they talk about coming up with things where you can read thoughts and things that will really like fuse science and technology. Do you think that that's possible? And do you think it's a good idea?
I think it's like Pandora's box a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very good in theory, and I think there are people who are here to move us along in that direction. But I don't think it's going to come until as a whole humanity is actually ready for it.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're seeing issues with the AI now. Okay, hey, you plagiarize these written works already to have these algorithms to produce something. Well, that's really not the intention that we were going for, but it's a consequence that we should have thought about.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's been a hero for you in your life? Who's been an inspiration?
Um, Unfortunately, a lot of this I've had to do on my own, but recently I have a mentor who's kind of from the same area, understands the mindset and everything that we've been through over here. And she's really kind of guided me a bit more than most people have.
So let me ask you this. If you can meet one person alive on the planet right now that you find fascinating, interesting, someone that would help you on your journey, who would that be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a very tough one. There are so many fascinating people like that. There really are. Um, I really don't have an answer to that one.
Okay, that's fine. That's an answer in itself. So at the end of the day, what is it that propels you and motivates you each day to wake up and do the work that you do? Because you obviously have to carry a lot to help people. You're carrying a heavier weight, I would think. So you're helping others, but you have to evolve as a human being yourself. What is that collective gumption for you every day to do this work?
Part of it is knowing that this is what I signed on for here, but it's also that I get to work with so many interesting deities and elementals. Like I work with dragons, I work with the archangels, I work with other beings like fairies, gnomes, all of those. I also work with buildings. Like we have 13 World War II watchtowers here. I work with them and chat with them. I work with castles of the world. So for me, it's not only meeting all these deities that I work with, but learning from them so that I can also evolve. Because we work with the ley lines of the world. So we literally go around the whole world helping heal and clear and so everything can be honored. Those stories, those histories can be passed on so we can keep moving forward. And that's a lot of what does it. And then the human side of me says, I'm also meant to teach this. So it's like, oh, I'm playing and having fun over here, but I need to bring it over here so others can start to come in on this and see kind of the lessons I'm learning and how they can take that and apply it.
So I'm curious, we've kind of woken up from this pandemic. We've had a major shift in things. And we all know what the problems with humanity are. I think a lot of us do, fundamentally. Are you hopeful? Are you hopeful for what's going on, whether it's spiritually or morally or intellectually? What's your hope? Or, I mean, are you hopeful for humanity?
I am. I am. Because even in the darkest of hours, there is always hope. And no matter how small it is, as long as it is there people believe in that and have that little bit of faith, it's going to grow. It's like a ripple in a pond. One little ripple affects another and affects another, and it grows over time and it magnifies. So, as crazy as the world seems right now, and as many things that seem like they're shifting and plates being spinning, it's going to settle down. And I think we're all going to come out better for it.
So you're obviously sending healing ripples out and helping people. What was that moment for you where you really needed the other side, so to speak, to give you some level or signal of healing and help? Was there a moment like that for you that kind of was a turning point in your life?
I think it really was the first time I met the World War II watchtowers that I work with. They are fun to work with, but I kind of met the alpha of the towers. Her name is Miriam, and she is a powerhouse. And in the briefest of moments, she showed me, because I'm empathic, she let me feel everything she'd been through in her entire life. And it was like, oh, okay, I can help you. And in turn, they've helped me.
So I remember watching the Beatles anthology in the 90s. It was really well orchestrated, and there was a segment in there where Paul McCartney met with Bob Dylan, and they had this conversation. It was probably hazed over by what they were smoking at the time, but but he wrote down the meaning of life on a piece of paper, put it in his pocket, and the next day he couldn't find it. So my question to you is, from everything that you've seen from this side and from the other side, what is your kind of beat on, like, a meaning, not the ultimate, but what's a central meaning for us being here and what we're doing and what we're trying to get done?
I know the common adage is life is what you make it, but I think it's that, but more. I think it's not only each of us individually, but also collectively, because we are each our own people. You are your own person, I am my own person, but yet together we can do so much more to help so many because we are all in this together. It's just finding that right thread to weave us all together, but yet allowing us that individuality to continue to grow, to develop those gifts. Hey, I may be good at cooking and I can teach you a couple things. You may be great at writing and you can teach me.
That's the thing, or I mean, it's almost like, opening a door for somebody. It's just very simple. It's temporal. There's nothing that's going to be hinging, but there's a level of that. And we've seen that in movies before where one good act will kind of ripple down the line and become something more magnanimous at the end. Almost like the kids that are in the classroom and one kid says the tomato is red, and by the time they get to the end, they'll say that the monster is purple and eating a grape, something like that, you know?
It's always fun when they do that. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and you ran into the 18-year-old version of you and you could talk to that young version of you, even at the age where you've really started kind of feeling the other side and feeling your voice, if you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've lived, what you've seen, the wisdom you've gained, what advice would you impart on that young version of you?
Why did you hide? Why did you take that time off?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. So, of everything that you've done and evolved into and achieved and become, what are you the proudest of?
I would say it's not only finally figuring out where I fit in with the metaphysical side of things, but it's now using all the skills I've learned as a human and all the challenges I had as a human to actually start interweaving the metaphysical with the human side and the science. I mean, because I am classically trained in the sciences, so I have that empirical, oh, science, I want to touch it, I want to see it, I want to experiment on it. But yet the metaphysical, we can't do that. So it's weaving those two together finally to say, yeah, there is something there. We understand that. And it's okay. It's okay. It's like you can feel it when somebody walks in your bubble. You're just like, get away, like minion style, just punch them and just like act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
We can feel that. But it's weaving those two together and using both sets of skills to kind of bring it together for everybody, I think.
So, more specifically on the metaphysical side of things, what's the best advice that you've ever gotten?
I think everybody is gifted in their own way. And I think it's just figuring out what gift really resonates with you and that person and developing that and finding the right people who can help kind of bring that and help you on your journey. For me, really connecting with my mentor, we've been working together, oh God, 7 years now. That's scary. I have to thank her for that one. We've been working together for 7 years and she's done little tweaks, just like little questions. What about this? Shoot, I didn't think about that. Let me get back to you on that. And that's where she's been really good about helping me on my journey. And that's where I hope to help others. Whether it's through the books that I'm writing, because each book has a poignant question, that can help there. The channel books have the histories and the messages from the towers and the castles that I work with. So it's kind of just finding what really resonates and finding the right people who can help develop that.
So, one question I like to ask people is if you can get into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history, where would you go? But you've had the opportunity to kind of go to places that a lot of people will never in this realm. Maybe you answer that question. Where would you go? What would you love to see? And the other part of that is, what have you seen that's been the most magnanimous, the most moving for you?
In the course of my work with the ley lines, we do go all over the world. So we do kind of still hang out in the present, but we also backtrack to the past because what we see on this surface was not there. As we're finding, if you read the news, we're finding more and more hidden beneath, which is really cool. Like they just unearthed another section of Pompeii. We never even knew that was there. So we not only hang out present, but past. So in a sense, I kind of get to see it all, which is wickedly cool. In the present, I would love to see the pyramids of Egypt. They're so fascinating, not just how they built them, given the rudimentary skills in the time period, but that the pyramids themselves just are amazing.
Yeah.
They told me, no, you can't go there yet. Okay, I can respect that. In terms of the past, I mean, I've seen some pretty amazing castles that are now hidden, whether nature took them back so that their secrets can be revealed later. Historical places, trails, like walking the trails of native indigenous people or the slaves. So it's really, really fascinating to be able to do that in the course of the work with the ley lines.
It's interesting. I find sometimes there's certain things that impel and draw me in, and I'm not sure why. If there was other lineages before I got here or whatever, but I remember going to Rome, and I was younger. It was like 2000, and I just felt something different there. Like there was something that was totally galvanizing in a very specific way. What is that premonitory kind of thing that people feel?
Many people think it's part of your past life being recognized. So there is the concept of past lives where we are reincarnated based on the lessons we've learned or didn't learn or our tasks. Usually, if something resonates like that, that is something at the soul level that either you were there in a past life, perhaps, or it's something that's being carried down at the soul level from a previous generation.
Okay.
I mean, for me, that's something I would dive into completely.
Yeah, my family lineage comes from Italy, Shaka, Sicily, and then Naples, which isn't too far
Wow.
away. But I had a pen pal in high school that was just outside of Florence. We were friends, and I visited her, and that was probably a part of maybe me getting back into the homeland. And I've been the only one in my entire lineage that's been to the whole country, so it's interesting. But I've always felt impelled and moved by India and their culture and the Hindu notions, and I just have always felt really comfortable. That's another thing about me. There's two very hard cultural leanings, so I've always been very interested in that.
I would dive into that.
Okay.
Find out why. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's hitting that hard, there's something there.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's
yeah,
definitely something there. I mean,
uh,
even if you start reading books and eventually make a pilgrimage, and what's great is if you actually go there, there's little things that you don't think, they'll hit you, they'll resonate. And it's
yeah,
like, okay, there's something here. I need to dive into this. I need
yeah,
to find out if it was this store that I'm seeing here, or if there's something in it that I'm meant to have.
yeah. Interesting. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
For me, I work hard and I like to serve others. That's just very much who I am. And if I'm not serving others in some way, whether it's listening to somebody who needs a shoulder, or trying to lift somebody up, or doing that small little act of kindness, like you said, holding a door for somebody, then I really don't feel satisfied.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to get your books, they want to hire you, reach out, any of the good business, where's the best
Mhm.
place to go?
So all of the books are on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. We do have other publishing companies around the world for the different languages, but I would definitely say start there. You can also get them on my site, sorayarose.com. And through that site, you can also email me as well.
This has been excellent. What a fascinating conversation. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm always I'm always so intrigued because my brain can't go to that place. And I almost sometimes feel good about that. It's kind of like I have a jazz radio show and musicians sometimes are like, "Hey, do you play any instruments?" And it's like of all of the things that I've delved into in this life, I'm a visual artist, I write, I podcasting, all of these things, technology. I want to keep things a mystery. I just don't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want it to be this ethereal, cerebral experience that just makes me feel good without knowing the inner, because I hear from musicians where it's like when I'm on stage, it's like this one amp or this one thing's not going. I would hate to do that with music. I just want it to wash over me in some like ambiguous way. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I do. Yeah, with my crew and deities I work with, I've learned not to argue with them because they get a good laugh and I do it anyway.
Yeah, there you go. This has been wonderful. Thank you. Keep doing
You're
the
very
great work.
welcome.
Wonderful to meet you.
And you keep smiling.
Oh, yeah, you too. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.